Charity was never merely a city. It was the Covenant's beating heart, a drifting cathedral of stone and metal, a sanctuary in the endless dark. Its creation was an act of faith and conquest, a fragment of the Shanshium homeworld, 2 mountains worth of stone, fused to the ancient Forerunner dreadnought that became its spine. Across 2 centuries of labor and blood, the Shanshium and Sangheili built a luminous metropolis, its spires singing of the great journey, and by 648 BCE, it rose into the void like a crowned world. From orbit, High Charity was awe incarnate, a hollow moon carved into a holy citadel. Its lower hemisphere gleamed with armor plating and docking pylons, while its upper half bloomed into a forest of violet-lit spires, terraced gardens, and silver bridges that arched between towers. Inside, life was stratified in sacred tiers. The golden sanctum of the hierarchs, where the high prophets whispered decrees. The towering council chamber, where the fate of species was decided. And the dense warrens of habitation domes and factories for the Covenant's lesser races. Incense perfumed the air with the scent of devotion, and the ever-present hum of the Forerunner dreadnought resonated like a heartbeat through the city's bones. High Charity, the majestic mobile capital city of the Covenant, served as the political, religious, and military hub of the entire Covenant Empire. High Charity's central spire housed the Sanctum of the Hierarchs, where the 3 prophets ruled the Covenant and issued edicts to all member species. Surrounding the spire were the countless districts, including residential areas for Sangheili, Kigyar, Ungoi, and other species, as well as industrial zones, religious temples, and massive docking bays that could accommodate an entire fleet. The Holy City was also home to the Oracle Chambers, libraries of Forerunner knowledge, and ceremonial plazas where the Great Journey was preached to the faithful. Many stories unfolded within High Charity during the height of the Covenant's power. Political intrigue simmered along the Sangheili and Jiralhanae. With tensions rising as the prophets began favoring the brutes over the elites. Sangheili warriors patrolled the streets, while Ungoi and Yanmei scurried to perform menial tasks, often creating clashes between the different species. In the lower districts, smuggling, black market trading of plasma weapons, and quiet acts of rebellion were not unheard of, even in this supposed holy city. In the sacred halls of the Sanctum, the prophets planned the Great Journey, directing fleets to scour the galaxy in search of more Forerunner artifacts and halo rings. Fleet masters rotated in and out of the city, receiving blessings before leading massive military campaigns against humanity. Religious ceremonies filled the city with hymns and chants, inspiring the faithful and strengthening the Covenant's unity, at least on the surface. For centuries, High Charity was untouchable, guarded by a lattice of slip-space probes that annihilated any intruder in microseconds. To approach uninvited was to invite death.
Fear not, my brothers, the sacred icon is secure. It was Tartarus and his brutes who took the icon from the flood. For that they have our thanks. At this moment, the councillors gather on Halo to see the icon safely placed. This crisis will not be the end of us. It is but one last hurdle before the journey and salvation. Creatures of the Covenant, the path is broad and we shall walk it side by side. The parasite did not defeat the Forerunners, and it shall not defeat us. No enemy has ever withstood our might. The flood too shall fail.
It was a city of worship, judgment, and fear. Then came the beginning of the end. During the events of Halo 2, the Covenant was already cracking. The death of the Prophet of Regret on Delta Halo sent tremors through the Holy City. The Great Schism began as the Jiralhanae replaced the Sangheili as the Hierarch's protectors. High Charity descended into chaos. Streets once reserved for parades of acolytes now ran with plasma fires. Sangheili and Jiralhanae slaughtered each other among the crowds of terrified Ungoi and fleeing Kigyar. Holograms of scripture flickered as debris and bodies drifted in zero-gravity breaches. Amid the chaos, the flood came. Following the disastrous encounter with the Covenant, Commander Miranda Keyes and Sergeant Johnson were captured and taken aboard a Covenant vessel, leaving the Amberclad temporarily without its leadership. On the surface of the Halo Ring, the remaining Marines were left to hold out against an escalating threat. Meanwhile, deep within the Ring's quarantine zone, the Arbiter unknowingly set in motion a far deadlier crisis. Tasked with retrieving the sacred index before the humans could claim it, he shut down the shields that had contained the flood. With the barriers disabled, the parasites swarmed out of the containment facilities, spreading across the ring and overwhelming anything in its path. In his determination to fulfill the great journey, the Arbiter had unintentionally unleashed the flood, compounding the dangers faced by both the Covenant and humanity. Without reinforcements or proper coordination, the Marines stationed across Installation 5 began to fall prey to the flood. The parasitic creatures swarmed out of containment zones, consuming isolated squads, overrunning defensive positions, and spreading through the ring's sprawling structures. The Covenant's focus on their sacred mission left the UNSC forces stranded, and one by one, the outposts fell silent. Meanwhile, abroad in the Amberclad, the situation deteriorated as the flood infiltrated the frigate. Infection forms slithered through air vents and across the decks, seizing Marines and converting them into grotesque combat forms. With the leadership absent and the flood moving unchecked, the ship was soon overrun. As the vessel slipped into High Charity's orbit through its slipspace jump, it had become a Trojan horse, its corridors writhing with infection, ready to unleash the parasite at the heart of the Covenant's holy city. The arrival of Master Chief abroad the city caused further uproar. To the Covenant, the appearance of the demon in the heart of their empire was a nightmare made flesh. Jural Hanae squads moved to intercept, and Shanghaili warriors, some still loyals, others now enemies, scrambled to claim the honor of killing him. Yet the horror was soon eclipsed by the unthinkable. The demon was not their only problem. As in the Amberclad crashed and the first waves of flood combat forms tore through the sanctums, panic erupted. The Covenant watched in disbelief as High Charity's sacred streets become overrun. For many, seeing the demon and then witnessing a tide of abominations was interpreted as a sign of divine punishment. Priests cowered in their temples, chanting desperately as grunts and jackals fled in all directions. The battle for High Charity became a three-way nightmare. Shanghaili and Jural Hanae fought each other. Both clashed with the human invader, and all were devoured by the flood. The council chamber became a throne of horror as the Gravemind rooted itself into the heart of the city, transforming High Charity into a pulsing hive of tendrils, bone, and rot. The Prophet of Truth abandoned his holy capital, fleeing abroad the Forerunner Dreadnought, the very power source that fed the city. As the Dreadnought tore free, High Charity plunged into darkness. Lights flickered and died, gravity failed in sections of the city, and the hum of the divine engine, the heartbeat of High Charity, fell silent. In that void of power and hope, the flood took everything. The city's fate was sealed during the Great Schism, when the Covenant fell into civil war and the flood returned in force. Flood spores and infection forms overran High Charity, consuming nearly all living creatures inside. The elegant halls and sanctuaries of the Covenant were quickly transformed into grotesque layers of pulsating biomass, walls of bone and sinew, and shadowed corridors where screaming echoes of the infected could be heard. Gravemind chose to make High Charity his mobile fortress and forward base. The city's slipspace capabilities and sheer size allowed the flood to move an enormous quantity of forces across the galaxy, and it had symbolic value as well. Turning the Covenant's holy city into a writhing hive of death was a perfect display of the flood's inevitability. Gravemind pursued the Prophet of Truth to Earth and ultimately to the Ark, and he brought High Charity with him as a means to deliver the flood directly into the heart of the galactic conflict.
Try the station.
By the time of Halo 3, when the Master Chief and the Arbiter arrived at High Charity to retrieve Cortana, the city is in a horrific state. The once luminous halls are choked with flood growth. Organic tendrils hang from the ceilings. The air is thick with spores, and the city's infrastructure is failing. Gravity lifts flicker, lights pulse weakly, and the ornate structures of the Covenant are barely visible beneath the layers of corruption. High Charity was not entirely empty, though. It crawls with combat forms, carrier forms, and other flood, many lurking in the shadows or emerging from the walls themselves. Cortana is imprisoned deep within, and Gravemind's voice echoes through the halls, taunting and luring the chief as he navigates the infested city.
Collection of lies. That's all I am. Stolen thoughts and memories.
And yet, perhaps a part of her remains.
Gravemind's true purpose for bringing High Charity to the Ark was strategic. First, it allowed him to deploy flood forces directly to the Ark's surface to interfere with both the UNSC and the Covenant loyalists. Second, it provided a mobile hub for the parasite to grow and spread. The Covenant's greatest city, its center of religion and culture, had become a monument to Flood's corruption. After the Master Chief rescues Cortana and escapes, Gravemind abandons High Charity. By then, most of the Central Intelligence and key Flood forces have moved to the Ark's surface. The remaining Flood aboard the city become feral, stripped of direction without the presence of the Gravemind. High Charity, now only a decaying carcass riddled with infestation, is left drifting as a silent, ominous ruin. Meanwhile, Gravemind dispatches part of its flood to the unfinished installation 04B. There, the Master Chief and his allies manage to activate the ring and escape before it fires, destroying both the flood and the installation. This final act becomes the hopeful outcome that everyone had been waiting for, ending the immediate threat of the flood and leaving only the memory of what might have been their galaxy-wide devastation. Decades later, during the events of Halo Wars 2, Awakening the Nightmare, the Banished explore the Ark and stumble upon High Charity's remains. The city is still heavily infested, serving as a dormant nest for the Flood.
Resignation is my virtue. Like water I ebb and flow. Defeat is simply the addition of time to a sentence I never deserved.
When the Banished disturb the wreckage, they inadvertently unleash the parasite once again, setting off a new conflict. This moment completes the journey of High Charity, from the shining capital of a galactic empire to the Flood's floating fortress, to a haunted relic that continues to spawn danger long after its fall. High Charity's story is the ultimate warning of the Flood's relentless nature. Even destroyed and abandoned, the city remains a symbol of both the Covenant's hubris and the galaxy's ongoing vulnerability to the ancient parasite. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, drop a comment to let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any future episodes.